Another tool that is worth knowing how to analyse is repetition. In literature, poetry, prose, of all kinds. And there are many different kinds of repetition, so it's worth having a quick look at the most common types. It's the repeating of words for effect, so a writer is trying to work on us and draw our attention to something, and often if we're attuned, we'll start to spot repetitive phrases, images, words, and it's being done on purpose. So one kind of repetition is anaphora, which is repeating the opening phrase of successive clauses of sentences. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. It was the... Also Winston Churchill, we will fight them on the beaches, we will fight them in the fields. That repetition, we will fight, it makes us sit up and listen. The opposite of anaphora is epistrophe, which is the repetition at the end of the sentence or clause. So in fact, that example of Charles Dickens is doing epistrophe as well. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. He's got repetition going on at both ends. Polysyndeton describes the usage of many connectives or conjunctions, so pulling both flowers and grass and nettles and piston beds is one example of and being repeated. Children often speak polysyndetically, but that's a repetitive form of language. And polyptoton describes the repetition in close succession of a word in different forms, such as break, breaks, breaking, broken. So if you get a sentence which uses the same word root, but just in different manifestations of it, that's another form of repetition. But for the power of repetition, think of that opening of Charles Dickens' A Tale of Two Cities. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom, it was the age of foolishness. It was the epoch of belief, it was the epoch of incredulity. It was the season of light, it was the season of darkness. It was the spring of hope, it was the winter of despair. We had everything before us, we had nothing before us. We were all going direct to heaven, we were all going direct the other way. What a way to open a novel. It's that accumulative snowdrift of repetitions which make us sit up and listen. I've attached a sheet showing just some of the different kinds of repetition that do occur in writing and speech, so that you can be aware and identify it in authors that you're studying, or perhaps in your own work.